Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we're going to close tonight the meeting in memory of two Arcadians who have passed away recently. The first one is Gerald Plessner, Jerry Plessner. He died peacefully on May 20th, 2012 with his family by his side. He had been diagnosed with advanced Alzheimer's and suffered a stroke. He was 77 years of age. Jerry was born on October 10th, 1934 in St. Louis, Missouri. He attended Clark Grade School and Maplewood Richmond Heights High School in St. Louis. Jerry discovered his love for scouting as a young man in Explorer Troop 87. He graduated from Missouri Valley College and served 2 years stateside with the United States Army. Jerry met a beautiful blonde on a blind date, Carol Renee Spritis, who would become his lifelong partner. Jerry was a successful professional fundraiser, earning an assortment of accolades throughout his career. He worked for the Boy Scouts of America for 17 years in St. Louis, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, North Miami Beach, Chicago, and Pasadena. He formed a fundraising consulting firm with his wife, Carol, called Fundraisers Incorporated, based in Arcadia. Jerry loved his wife, his work, family gatherings, writing, discussing politics, charity fundraising, preparing barbecue chicken, and Baskin-Robbins ice cream. During the last decade of his life, Jerry enjoyed his role as political columnist for the Pasadena Star-News. He was also working on his book titled Ask Grandpa. Jerry is survived by his children, Mitchell Scott Plessner and his wife Gail, Janet Aurelia Plessner and her partner Emily Mazzotti, Ellen Beth Plessner Bartell and her partner Jack Lorenz, his sister Doris Louise Gilgus and her husband Zolan Gilgus, 9 amazing grandchildren and many loving nieces, nephews, and friends. I'd like to comment, I first met Jerry about 30 years ago, and it was kind of an interesting, one of Arcadia's sister cities is Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. And at that time, 30 years ago, we had a pretty active sister city relationship with them. And they decided that they were going to celebrate the 4th of July in honor of their relationship with this American city, since obviously they don't celebrate the 4th of July down there. And so they invited our marching band to come to Australia and take part in this celebration. And so I ended up in a room with, there were just 5 of us. I remember Jack Salid was there, former mayor of Arcadia, myself, Jerry Plessner. This was the first time I had met Jerry, and there were 2 others there, and I apologize to them that I can't remember who they were at the time. And we started talking about what it would take to send our band and attached units to Australia. And as I recall, we came up with a budget of about $175,000, which is a pretty sizable number today, but 30 years ago was a much more sizable number. And as we were having this discussion, I have to be honest with you, my thought was, how would we ever raise this kind of money? But Jerry was a professional fundraiser, and Jerry said, no, we can do this. We just have to do this and this and this and this. And so we, over the next couple, 3 months, we went into all kinds of fundraising. Our committee of 5 expanded to a committee of about 30. And this all resulted in sending close to 200 Arcadia High School band members and drill team members and tall flags, including my daughter, who was a sophomore at the time, on this trip to Australia. And Jerry was really one of the real spark plugs behind this. And I don't know how many people know Jerry, but those of you who are now adults and may have gone on that trip, or your parents who may still be around, I'm sure that trip had to be a memory that will last their entire life. And so I think it's important that we recognize that Jerry's contribution to this community, the upshot of it is that in Australia, they didn't have marching bands. They had concert bands. But they were so inspired by the Arcadia High School marching band, the girls with their headdresses going down through the streets of Newcastle, that they decided that they were going to have their concert band become a marching band. And they invited the then drum major of the Arcadia High School marching band to come back to Australia and teach them how to march. And Subsequently, we had their band here. We arranged for them to march in the Rose Parade. They came back another time or two. I had a couple of girls from the band stay in our home for about 2 weeks, and we still have regular contact with one of them here close to 30 years later. So this turned into a major thing, and Jerry Plessner was one of the people who really was the spark plug of that.